What is one of your favorite cleaning tools? That's a great question, and we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today we're going to do a product review on two of my favorite products from OXO, and it is the Deep Brush Cleaning Set. These are two tiny little brushes that I'm going to show you how we use them and what they're designed for. But back in the olden days when I started my company, all we had that we were able to use were toothbrushes because these little brushes didn't exist. So we used a toothbrush. And I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to get up close here so that you can see that the bristles are all frayed and they moosh down when you try to use them on things like grout. Okay, so this is what we used because this is all we had. Now, the bristles of a toothbrush are nylon, and somewhere along the way, the Dental Association decided that the bristles should be soft instead of hard so that they wouldn't ruin people's gums, because that's what toothbrushes were designed to do. They were not designed to be cleaning tools and used for grout. Okay, so several years ago, they stopped making the heavy-duty bristles for the toothbrushes. That's when I turned to OXO to look for something different. All right, now OXO has been around for 25 years. They're an amazing company, and they have all kinds of really interesting things, from cooking to bakeware, all the way down to little bottle brushes that you use to clean out a baby bottle with, and even potty chairs for kids. Now, their specialty is they have good grips. Everything that they have with a handle on it has a really good grip. Whether it's made of silicone or it's made of some kind of a durable resin, their stuff is really super durable, and they're looking for a better user experience. That's what they're all about, is a better user experience. So they've got a whole entire line of products, and they're actually a subsidiary of Helen of Troy, which is a publicly traded company. But they are really emerging into the cleaning market with some fantastic tools that have become quickly my favorite products. All right, so these little tools are very, very durable bristles, and they're good for all kinds of things like cleaning grout or cleaning around the sides of faucets. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that I use them, but these are small enough, you'll see, compared to the toothbrush. The toothbrush has a much longer handle, and these are a little bit smaller. And so these fit inside your pocket if you're wearing cargo pants, or they fit inside any apron. So they're very easy to carry with you at all times, and I do. I use them all the time because they're so amazing. So let's go check out how we use these. Now, if you're like me, you have keyboards in your house, and using the smaller of the two brushes, I like to clean the keyboards with this brush. The bristles are not as tough as they are on the bigger of the two brushes, but there are 4 rows of bristles. The 2 on the outside are smaller than the 2 in the middle, which create a triangular pattern, which makes it real easy to run your brush between all the different rows of the keyboards and get out all the food and crumbs and junk that might have fallen in there when no one was looking. Another great use for the OXO smaller brush are the corners of 6-panel doors. After you've dusted the door, a lot of times there will be junk, dust, gunk that has settled in the corners and they're hard to get out. This little triangular brush is super in the corners by just brushing in an outward position, and that cleans out all the gunk without soap and water. Another great use for the smaller of the two brushes is detailing your car. The smaller of the two brushes with the triangular top is great for the area between the door and the window where the window rolls up and down. Also in the little buttons in the door where you have the locks or the chairs go up and down, those buttons also tend to collect a lot of gunk. On the opposite end of the smaller of the two brushes, there's a little orange piece which is like a rubber spatula, and that's great for digging out little things like food and bits of grime that have settled in the buttons and around the intricate areas of your vehicle. It's excellent for detailing your car in all the little nooks and crannies, especially on the dashboard. Another great use for the larger of the two brushes is cleaning the vents on the overhead air conditioning vents. A lot of the air filters will collect dust and grime, and although we can change the air filter, the grime settles on the little grates, and that's very difficult to get out. But with the larger of the two brushes, you can clean that right out without any extra soap or water or cleaning solutions. Washing machines and dryers also collect a lot of gunk right inside the door, and with the smaller of the two brushes, that triangular brush head is great for getting in all the little nooks and crannies of areas where gunk has collected, and that could either be soap or grime or dust or lint or whatever. And then also to turn the end around of the smaller of the two and use that rubber spatula part in areas that normally you could not reach. Also, you want to check the seals of the doors and make sure that there's no lint buildup so that the door seals properly. One of my favorite uses for both of the brushes is the bathroom sink. There's all kinds of grime that just builds up around the bathroom sink, whether it's toothpaste or it's soap or it's junk or whatever. The very first thing that you want to do is you want to get the areas where the sink meets the solid surface countertop, because there's a lot of grime that builds up underneath there, even though you cannot see it. So you want to just run your brushes underneath there, and then I turn the smaller of the two brushes around and use the rubber spatula part to clean that rim out, because even though you can't see that there's a bunch of junk, it usually collects junk there, and it's easy to clean out with the help of these two tools. Now, while we're here in the sink, I want to take the smaller of the brushes and I want to clean the drain. This is where we spit our toothpaste out. It's where we wash soap down the drain. It collects all kinds of stuff and bacteria and often creates a little pink ring. The brush brushes that out without any additional chemicals. Now, we've just sprayed the back of the sink, so I'm going to use the larger of the two brushes, and I'm just going to rotate brushes here, and I'm going to get all around the faucets and behind the faucet and the area where the solid surface countertop meets the backsplash. And now here I'm going to do a mulligan. While I have this small brush in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean the electric toothbrush, because that's always nasty and it always looks better after it's clean. Then I'm going to wipe everything down and voila! The sink is as good as new with the help of these two brushes. Now, we talked about the larger of the two brushes replacing the toothbrush for grout. Let me show you what I mean. I'm using just a mixture of OxiClean and water, and I'm using the larger of the two brushes, which has a flat head. And that brushes right into the groove of the grout. And after leaving this for a couple of minutes, we're going to have spectacular looking grout. Now, not part of regular maintenance cleaning is the window seals between where the window and the screen meet. But there's usually a lot of gunk and junk back there, and you'll want to remove the screen first. Then you'll want to vacuum out the debris with the hose of your vacuum. And then you'll spray the area just to loosen up all the debris, and then you'll use both of the brushes, starting with the larger brush first. You want to scoop out and scrub out as much of the debris as you possibly can. Then you'll go back to the far corners with the smaller of the two brushes and that triangular head. And then once you have all of that done, you'll turn the brush around and you'll use the rubber spatula part wrapped inside a paper towel to clean out the last of that debris. And how can we forget about the shower door? Ugh, it's usually nasty. And this is a two-brush job as well. We're going to remove the mat. We're going to spray the area at the bottom of the door. Then we're going to start with the larger of the two brushes, and we're going to scrub all the largest areas first. Then once the areas around the base on the inside and outside of the shower door are clean, we're going to use the smaller of the brushes, and we're going to turn it around to the spatula edge, wrap it inside a paper towel, and we're going to clean the gunk out of the bottom rim where all the water drips and then turns into mold. All of the bristles in the vacuum attachments can be cleaned. Well, first you clean out all the hair and whatever. Then you can use either of your brushes to brush the brushes and the edges of your vacuum attachments. This removes all of the hair, dust, debris, anything that's caught to make your vacuum attachments look as good as new. The brushes are super easy to clean. You can either soak them in just a cup of hot dishwater, or you can put them on the top shelf of your dishwasher, or you can just run them under hot water and brush the brushes against each other to loosen any debris that may have stuck in the bristles. Alrighty, now that you've seen how I use these brushes, I'm sure you can understand why they're a couple of my favorite. With a price tag of $6 or $7 for a set of two, it's a little bit more expensive than a cheap toothbrush, but it's going to last you forever. It's a great investment in your cleaning business, and I'm going to leave links in the show notes so you can see where to get a set for yourself. Also, they make great gifts, so if you have a house cleaner in your life, don't forget to pick up a set for them as well. And every house cleaner, every maid service, every Airbnb, every homeowner that has little nooks and crannies that you need to clean between, these are your tools. Now, I'm going to give this set, the Savvy Cleaner Seal of Approval. And I want to hear all about your experience with these. If you use this set, leave your comments in the notes below because I want to hear all about it. I want to see if you're a fan of the little OXO brushes. All right, until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.